South Africa was aroused to images of chaos and astonishment early this daybreak as extensively weaponized National Authority Force personnel invaded the Johannesburg dwelling of Economic Freedom Fighters EFF commander Julius Malema after he supposedly refused to unlock the entrance to agents executing a supreme-tier mission connected to the continuing examination into the enigmatic fatality of Ambassador Nzimande. Authority agents in their quantities materialized at Malema's expansive estate shortly after 5:30 a.m. following what confidants depicted as an urgent legal directive for an inspection and confiscation operation. Contacts in the examining operations squad stated the authorization was granted late yesterday evening pursuing fresh proof that was furnished by scientific authorities associating crucial electronic correspondence during Nzimande's final periods to individuals participating in Malema's political network. The inhabitants documented awakening in astonishment to the vision of illuminating azure beams, amplifier directives, and the pounding of footwear on stones. "We assumed initially it was a burglary," stated one of the inhabitants who dwells on the thoroughfare opposite from the site. "But then you observe fortified authority vehicles, aerial devices hovering over the estate, and strategic agents in dark attire yelling for somebody to unlock the barrier. When nobody responded, they fractured it accessible." The confrontation was depicted by observers as enduring close to 30 minutes before agents fractured accessible the primary barrier with pressurized severing tools. The atmosphere was saturated with strain as extensively weaponized Specialized Examinations Division officers penetrated with combat fashion exactness executing what seemed to be a firmly orchestrated invasion within the structure. Contacts alleged that authority repeatedly attempted contacting Malema by telephone and communication system before utilizing strength. One ranking agent whose identity was maintained strictly confidential stated, "We implemented every measure of the regulation. He was notified of the authorization. When he declined to collaborate, we possessed no alternative but to advance. This examination is crucial with righteousness." Within, examiners allegedly dispersed out through the residence, obtaining portable computers, mobile telephones, storage devices, and a quantity of containers of monetary documentation. A scientific squad was observed capturing photographs of surrounding the residence, while others assembled what seemed to be manually written documents and peripheral storage equipment. While authority have not released a complete inventory of what was confiscated, preliminary accounts suggest the substances are immediately connected to monetary exchanges and coded transmissions between multiple prominent persons in the periods preceding to Ambassador Nzimande's suspicious fatality in Paris. "We're not implying culpability, but we must follow the evidence wherever it extends," stated one participant of the examination squad. "Each fragment of proof is significant. Scientific authorities are presently analyzing over the substance confiscated, scrutinizing particularly coded electronic mail and correspondence documentation believed to associate a quantity of political participants with unidentified global holdings." The EFF command reacted with indignation within intervals of the invasion. Organization representative Vioni Pambo condemned the mission as an action of political coercion arranged by those in authority who dread responsibility. He announced the EFF supports by its commander. "Julius Malema has been assaulted by the establishment repeatedly, and this is another desperate attempt by the governing elite to silence the sole person with the bravery to articulate reality to authority." Malema's advocates mobilized rapidly outside his residence and on digital platforms. Hashtags including #HandsOffMalema, #JusticeForNzimande and #EFF under attack circulated across the nation within an interval. EFF participants in substantial quantities were vocalizing and displaying EFF organization banners near the estate barriers demanding for openness and charging authority of executing politically motivated directives. Even with escalating community interest, the South African Police Service, SAPS, has remained relatively silent. A concise declaration released by National Representative Brigadier Athlenda Mathe confirmed that there had been an inspection mission at a residential dwelling as component of an operational global collaboration attempt in the Nzimande situation. When interrogated for additional intelligence, Mathe responded, "We cannot disclose particulars at this juncture." The examination is continuing and exceptionally delicate. Yet we responded in complete application of regulation. This was a brief declaration which accomplished minimal to calm the circumstances, since the EFF had charged the authority of functioning for political concerns instead of accountability. President Cyril Ramaphosa's contacts have suggested that he was notified about the invasion multiple intervals preceding to the genuine occurrences, suggesting that the mission had obtained national tour authorization. Previous ministry official and highly regarded Representative Ambassador Nzimande was discovered deceased in enigmatic situations at the Paris Premium Accommodation 3 periods ago. Initially, it was documented as a health crisis, but after revealed scientific intelligence suggested proof of criminal activity, the narrative assumed a severe transformation. Over the subsequent periods, investigators disclosed confirmation of coded telephone communications, abnormal monetary movements, and secretive correspondence attributed to South African political commanders, initiating global attention and representative strain. Currently, with Julius Malema's dwelling also under authority surveillance, conjecture is mounting that the investigation is concentrating on persons formerly considered as politically protected. The invasion has also ignited heated discussion throughout the nation. Some regard the authority action as a movement to reach the foundation of one of the country's most astounding political homicides. Others, particularly EFF supporters, perceive it as a reckless application of governmental strength and a troubling indication that political conflict in South Africa is intensifying to a fresh tier. Political evaluator Dr. Katlego Mlambo described the mission as the most theatrical intensification in post-apartheid political enforcement we've observed in generations. He supplemented, if Malema is exonerated, this could rebound dramatically on the government, strengthening his representation as a political casualty. But if authority and investigators discover substantial proof incriminating him or his associates for Nzimande's elimination, it would possess extensive consequences on the political stability of South Africa. The result of the examination could also establish the trajectory of action of the EFF in the prospect, as it has appeared as one of the most vocal opposition organizations criticizing the governing administration. Up to this evening, Julius Malema is still at his Johannesburg dwelling under rigid security with observable authority attendants surrounding the dwelling. His legal representatives have verified that they will submit a petition in tribunal requesting the immediate restitution of all the assets confiscated and an accelerated legal examination of the validity of the authorization. We will challenge each and every unlawful action that the authority will execute, stated Malema's legal representative in a brief media conference. Our client's privileges have been transgressed and we will guarantee maximum responsibility through the tribunals. Meanwhile, international journalism contacts including BBC, Al Jazeera and Reuters have commenced documenting the advancing narrative, characterizing it as one of the most volatile political occurrences in contemporary South African chronicle. The international scrutiny has only intensified the burden on South African administrators to execute the investigation transparently and equitably. Representatives caution that any suggestion of political interference or mishandling would reignite representative hostilities and additionally erode community assurance. The consequences are substantial. Both the righteousness of the accountability framework and of the executive itself are currently at risk. European and African Union administrators have apparently requested to be maintained consistently notified of the examination, emphasizing anxieties over proper procedure and organizational righteousness. In Johannesburg as a totality, reactions are separated. Within the Central Commercial Territory, some inhabitants were comforted that regulation implementation was ultimately implementing action decisively whether or not anyone was participating. Others, particularly younger constituents, were more doubtful, indicating the invasion represented a broader pattern of suppressing opposition perspectives. "They're not pursuing accountability," stated an advocate of the EFF outside the tribunal. "They desire to dominate the discourse." Digital Platforms has commenced demanding for nationwide demonstrations with a quantity of EFF territorial administrators formulating arrangements for peaceful demonstration action in primary urban centers by the conclusion of the period. In governmental networks, whispers of apprehension have commenced spreading. Some supreme administrators are stated to be concerned that the Nziman investigation may reveal a network of fraud and confidential exchanges much greater than what has been disclosed to period. A revealed internal accountability division communication supposedly advises that a hasty disclosure of certain discoveries might jeopardize national equilibrium. Confidants suggest that numerous supreme officials are quietly securing legal representatives in anticipation of additional invasions or legal demands as operatives maintain pursuing monetary connections tied to Nziman's final periods. As evening descends, nervousness still maintains the country in its control. Thoroughfares outside Malema's residence remain blocked off as disturbance authority remain by to prevent potential confrontations between advocates and regulation implementation. Within the estate, examiners are allegedly executing electronic analysis on the confiscated equipment, anticipating to reveal any association to coded correspondence surrounding Ambassador Nziman's concluding instances. The atmosphere in the country is substantial with uncertainty, and everyone still possesses the identical inquiry in consciousness. How distant upward does the investigation genuinely extend? In the broader perspective, this daybreak's circumstances have been a significant occurrence in the contemporary governance of South Africa. Regardless of whether the invasion proves to be a legitimate pursuit for accountability or a cynical political maneuver, one reality is definite. The Nziman fatality situation has currently involved some of the most powerful individuals in the territory in a controversy that demonstrates no suggestions of diminishing. As the investigation continues, the globe anticipates to observe if the establishments of South Africa are capable to maintain up beneath burden or if once more the reality will be suppressed by governance.